Larry Bergquist was one of the greatest off-road motorcyclists of all time. He earned the name the Desert Fox because he was so fast in cross-country desert racing. Larry raced for over 25 years and is one of the winningest racers of all time in District 37, taking 32 checkered flags in the desert. Take a look at this picture and tell me, what's missing? In case you didn't guess, this picture ought to help out. Bergquist had a streak of 95 top 10 finishes in 106 races. 80 of those were victories in his class. And speaking of class, he did it all with style and a very humble attitude. One of the greatest honors was winning the prestigious AMA's National Sportsman of the Year Hare Scrambles Championship. That was 1968, the same year he won the Regional Sportsman of the Year 250cc Championship to pair with his national title. In fact, you could say the Desert Fox had his tail lit on fire that year. Look at all these wins. It was one of the greatest seasons ever in off-road history. One of the victories you might have seen roll by just a second ago was the Stardust 711 Off-Road Championship in Nevada. Larry won that race with his longtime partner, Gary Preston. Listen to what Hot Rod Magazine had to say about that impressive victory. Larry and Gary won the Stardust 711 by a stunning 1 hour and 48 minutes, which most surely has to be one of the largest margins in victory in the history of off-road racing. The 1968 Mexican 1000, now called the Baja 1000, earned the distinctive title of being the most famous race in the history of off-road racing. So how did Larry do in that most famous race? Larry and Gary won first overall. It was the first time in the history of the race that a motorcycle team had accomplished that feat. Not only that, but they shattered the previous motorcycle record by more than 8 hours. It was a record that would never be beaten. So they had to change the course to give someone else a shot at a new record. But there was one race that defined who Larry was better than all of his accomplishments. He was racing in the California-Nevada State Championships when he noticed his friend Roger Dietz was having trouble. It turns out that Roger was having convulsions and was in danger of swallowing his tongue and suffocating. So the Desert Fox broke off a piece of sagebrush. He used it to prevent Roger from choking to death until a rescue vehicle came and rushed him to the hospital. Then Larry calmly hopped back onto his bike and started racing again. At this point, he was about 50 minutes behind the nearest competitor. Amazingly, he won his class that day and finished 5th overall. But perhaps more amazingly than that was that whenever he would tell the story of the day he saved his friend's life, he always managed to leave out the part about winning the race. And that's who Larry Bergquist was. Larry won a total of 8 California and Nevada State Championships, 5 of them in different racing classes. It's a true testament to Larry's riding ability and his versatility on a motorcycle. Bergquist was invited to go to Spain and represent the USA in the International 6-Day Trials in 1968. After his racing days were over, Larry continued to ride the desert often until the age of 69. The Desert Fox had hundreds of great stories, from banditos destroying his bike with lead pipes to the time when he was nearly hit by an airplane landing on a strip in the middle of the racecourse. Larry Bergquist was an amazing rider and an amazing person. We are proud to welcome him into the TrailBlazers Hall of Fame.